Selenium for Beginners with Rex Jones II. Closed captioning is available for you. Switch CC on or off.
The Java Development Kit JDK is required for developing and running programs in Java. Eclipse IDE will be used to compile and run our automation test scripts. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment, which contains a code editor for writing our automation test scripts. Selenium has 4 components, and all of those components include the word Selenium. The 4 components are Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, and Selenium Grid. Most of the times when a person refers to Selenium, they are referring to Selenium WebDriver. We are going to focus on Selenium WebDriver, which is mistakenly called an automation tool. In reality, for Java, Selenium WebDriver is a collection of jars. JAR is an acronym for Java Archive, which has many packages consisting of classes and methods. A browser driver is sometimes called a driver. It is a file that manages communication between the browser and Selenium WebDriver. We need a driver before we begin automation on a browser. TestNG is one of the test frameworks for Java. TestNG stands for Test Next Generation, which joins the programming and testing aspects of automation. In fact, TestNG was designed so testers can include a diverse group of test types with the automation efforts. The first installation will be the Java Development Kit JDK. We are going to search for JDK version 9. Select Java SE Development Kit 9. Now we are at Oracle's website. Click the radio button to accept license agreement. There is a JDK for each platform. The platforms are Linux, Mac, Windows, and Solaris. I have a Windows platform and will download the executable file for version 9.0.4. Save the executable file in my downloads folder. Then wait for it to finish downloading. It is finished downloading. Open the folder, then prepare for installation by opening the JDK executable file. Click Next in the installation wizard. We are getting ready to install the development tools, source code, and public JRE. This is the JRE that is included with JDK. While the status is in progress, let's go to the JDK folder for version 9 within the Java folder. We see a JRE executable application within the JDK folder. After the status is complete, we will be prompted to install JRE. Click Next to install JRE 9.0.4. Close the complete dialog since JRE has been successfully installed. Now, let's go back to the Java folder. And we see 4 folders. 2 folders for version 9 and 2 folders for version 8. Both versions have a JDK folder and a JRE folder. Open JDK for version 9. Then open the bin folder, which has many applications. The 2 primary applications within the bin folder are java.exe and javec.exe. Java.exe is the standard Java interpreter, while javec.exe is the Java compiler. Let's compile the bin folder's path so we can add the bin folder's path to environment variables. To copy the bin folder's path, select Shift key and click the right mouse button at the same time to see Copy as Path. You will not see Copy as Path if you only click the right mouse button without selecting Shift. To go to Environment Variables, we navigate to System. Type System. Select System. Click Advanced System Settings. Within the Advanced tab, click Environment Variables. Go to Path. Within System Variables section, click Edit, then New, and paste the bin folder's path. There are 2 reasons for adding the bin folder to environment variables. The first reason is to help Windows operating system search the path entries for Java's executable applications. The second reason is to bypass writing the full path to the executable file every time we run it. Notice I have a bin directory for version 8 and version 9. There should only be one bin directory for JDK in the path at a time. Therefore, I will delete version 8 and keep version 9. Click OK 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now, let's verify through the command prompt that we have installed Java version 9. I will go to the run prompt, then type cmd. Within the command prompt, type Java space -version, then hit enter. We see Java version 9.0.4. Java version 9 has been successfully installed. The next installation will be Eclipse IDE. I will search for Eclipse by typing download Eclipse IDE. Then select Eclipse Downloads. Eclipse Oxygen is the current release for Eclipse IDE. We click the download 64-bit button. Next, we download the file, which is the Eclipse installer, by clicking the download button or the hyperlink Eclipse INST Win64. Save the Eclipse installer, go to my downloads folder, then open the Eclipse installer. We see two Java options within this Eclipse installer: Eclipse IDE for Java developers and Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers. We can't install either one of the Java options. However, I prefer to install the second option, so I will select Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers. The EE stands for Enterprise Edition, which comes with many pre-installed plugins. Click the Install button. We click the Launch button to open the Eclipse application. In this demo, I did not have to accept a license agreement. If you come across a checkbox and a button, click both to accept the agreement. After launching Eclipse, we provide a name for our workspace. The purpose of workspace is to group projects. It's important we group projects that are similar to each other in a workspace. I will name the workspace Social Media. Then click the Launch button. Now let's create a new Java project. I will minimize the Welcome tab, click File, then navigate to New. We have the option of selecting Project or Other. Both options will take us to the same dialog, which is the Select a Wizard. In this dialog, we select Java Project, then click the Next button to add a project name. Notice how the JRE section defaults and displays our Java version 9. The JRE is used for compiling and launching our Java programs. I created a separate video showing how to change the default version to JRE 9 if you do not see it. Let's call this project Online Training Teaching. Click Finish, then open Perspective. Perspective is a group of views. A view is a sub-window such as Package Explorer, Task List, Outline, and Problems. We have the option of customizing our perspective by adding or removing a view. We can add a view by going to Window, Show View. However, I am going to minimize the views to show more of the work area. Within Package Explorer, we see our project Online Training, JRE System Library, and SRC. SRC is the source folder. Our project is used for holding our folders, libraries, and files. The JRE System Library is a library added by default to Eclipse. We see the path of each jar file started with C program files. The source folder is used for storing subfolders and source files. Next, we are going to configure the Selenium jars. I'm going to search for Selenium download. Then go to Selenium's website. We navigate to the Selenium client and WebDriver language binding section to see the most recent Selenium versions. 5 languages are available for download: Java, C#, Ruby, Python, and JavaScript. We will download Java, but will not download the latest version of Selenium 3.11. Let's navigate back to the top and go to previous releases. The previous release page shows releases for Selenium 2 and Selenium 3, starting with version 2.39 and ending with version 3.9. I will download Selenium 3.9. Out of habit, I tend not to use the latest version of most products until it has been in the market for a while. That's why I did not download Selenium 3.11. There are some people that still use Selenium 2.53, which was the last version of Selenium 2. They use Selenium 2.53 because it is a stable release, and Selenium 3.0 had a ton of problems when it came to the market. On this index of 3.9 page, you see several zip and jar files. We have the option of downloading the Selenium Java or Selenium Server zip files. These 4 zip files will help us automate using Selenium WebDriver. I am going to download Selenium Java 3.9.0 zip file and Selenium Server standalone 3.9.0 jar file to my downloads folder. Go to the location of both files. We see the zip file and the jar file. Next, we must unzip all of the files by clicking the right mouse button and selecting Extract All. The zip file must be extracted so we can configure all of the Selenium jars. Now we see a folder and zip file for Selenium Java 3.9.0. Let's go back to Eclipse and configure Selenium. We configure Selenium by navigating to Build Path. To get to Build Path, we can right-click the project, SRC, or JRE System Library. Build Path, followed by Configure Build Path. Click Modulepath. Here we see JRE System Library has already been added as a library. Now let's add the Selenium jars by clicking the Add External Jars button. Open the Selenium Java 3.9.0 folder. Add both client combined 3.9.0 jars. It is optional to add the Client Combine 3.9.0 Sources jar. Click the Add External Jars button again. But this time, we're going to add all of the jar files within the libs folder. Select shortcut keys Control-A to select all jar files, then click Open. Finally, we add the Selenium Server Standalone jar by going to the Downloads folder. Let me show you what happens if someone attempts to add the Selenium Java zip file. We need the jar files, but only the zip file shows up. I will remove the zip file by clicking the Remove button. Click the Apply and Close button. Another library called Reference Libraries has been added to include the jar files we configured for Selenium. Next, we're going to download the browser drivers for Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, and Firefox. The first driver we are going to download is the IE driver server. IE driver server can be downloaded from two locations. The two locations are index of your Selenium version page and Selenium's download page. We have Selenium 3.9, so we are going to download the driver from this index of 3.9 page. Do you see how there are two driver options? IE driver server Win32 and IE driver server x64. The difference between 32 and 64 is how your computer's processor, better known as CPU, handles information. There are several ways to verify if you have a 32-bit or 64-bit operating system. One of the ways is through System, whereby you can look at system type. In my case, I have a 64-bit operating system x64 based processor. Most people probably have a 64-bit if they have at least 4 gigabytes GB of RAM. If you have a 32-bit operating system, then your system type would show x86 based processor. Let's go back to the index page and download IE driver server x64. We can also download the driver from Selenium's download page. The Internet Explorer driver server shows driver version 3.11.1, which is the most recent version. You would use this version if you downloaded Selenium 3.11. We're going to scroll down to the third-party drivers, bindings, and plugins section for the other drivers. There are many drivers, but we will focus on Firefox and Chrome. It is important to know your browser version so you can know which driver version to download. Let's take a look at the browser version for Firefox and Chrome. In Firefox, select the Alt key or Click the right mouse button and check menu bar to bring up the menu. Go to Help, then select About Firefox to view Firefox's browser version. In Chrome, we click the 3 vertical dots, then navigate to Help and select About Google Chrome. We see the browser version for Chrome is 66. Check your browser version if you come across a problem where you execute your test scripts and they pass, then you execute them again and they fail. It may be a situation where you must update your driver version to match your browser version. For example, my Chrome version is 66. Imagine if I execute some test scripts today and they pass, but next week they fail. It's probably a result of Chrome automatically updating to version 67. Therefore, my driver version and browser version are no longer compatible. I'll show you how to verify which driver and browsers are compatible. Click Changelog for Google Chrome driver. The changelog shows us which browser version is supported by the driver version. We see Chrome driver V2.36 supports Chrome V63 to 65. The next section shows Chrome driver V2.35 supports Chrome V62 through 64. Okay. Notice we do not see what Chrome driver version supports 67. Sometimes these websites are not updated with the updated information. Let's try this. I will change 36 to 37 and see what happens. There it is. Chrome driver B2.37 supports Chrome B64 through 66. I will go back to Selenium's download page and we see it shows 2.36. Let's do the same by changing 36 to 37. And we see index of 2.37. Do you see how there is not a 64-bit for Windows? There's only a 32-bit for Chrome driver. It is no big deal. We can download Chrome driver Win32 if we have a 64-bit operating system. Now, let's download the driver for Firefox. The driver for Firefox is called Gecko driver. It is called Gecko driver and not Firefox driver because Gecko is the web browser engine name that is developed as part of Firefox. We click 0.20 to download and view documentation for the Gecko driver. I am going to download version 0.19.0. Firefox 55.0 and greater, and Selenium 3.5 and greater are supported by version 0.19.0. Click the link for Win64zip. Save the file. In the Downloads folder, we see all 3 zip files. I prefer to create a folder called Drivers. Then add all of the drivers to the Drivers folder. This makes it easier to organize my drivers in one location. Next, we can unzip the zip files or copy and paste the executable files. Each of these drivers helps us automate on Chrome, Firefox, and Internet Explorer. The driver operates like a bridge between Selenium WebDriver and the browser. I plan to use Chrome and Firefox, although I have 3 drivers. Finally, we have the last installation, which is TestNG, the Java test framework. There is more than one way to install TestNG. However, I believe the quickest way to install TestNG is through Eclipse Marketplace. We navigate to Eclipse Marketplace by going to the Help menu, then selecting Eclipse Marketplace. Type TestNG in the Find Text field, then click the Go button. TestNG shows up with an Install button. Click the Install button. Make sure all checkboxes are checked. Click the Confirm button. Select the radio button called I accept the terms of the license agreement. Then click the Finish button. Click Install Anyway on the security warning prompt. Finally, click Restart Now on the Software Updates prompt. Launch the workspace. We verify TestNG is installed by making sure the TestNG library is located under our project. If the library is not located under our project, then we can add the library by right-clicking the project, SRC, JRE System Library, or Reference Libraries. Then selecting Build Path and configure Build Path. Click the Add Library button. Select TestNG, click Next, Finish, then the Apply and Close button. Before clicking the Apply and Close button, we see TestNG has been added as a library. TestNG is located under our project as a library. Now we are finished setting up the Java Development Kit JDK, Eclipse IDE, Selenium browser drivers, and TestNG. I created a document with step-by-step instructions to show you how to set up Selenium, Java, Eclipse, browser drivers, and TestNG. Feel free to download the document for free if you want a copy at https://tinyurl.com how to set up Selenium, TINY-HOW-SET-SELENIUM. You will see this page, how to set up Selenium and its required components. After going to the URL, here's the document starting at the table of contents page. Verify the system type, install Java Development Kit JDK, install Eclipse IDE, configure Selenium WebDriver, download browser drivers, and install TestNG. I will show you the configure Selenium WebDriver section, which has steps for downloading Selenium 3.11. Step 1, go to Selenium's download page. Step 2, download the Selenium standalone server. Step 3, download the client driver for Java. Step 5, unzip the zip files. Step 9, through step 21, add the external jars to Eclipse. I will end this demo tutorial with the print statement saying hello to the world and welcoming you to Selenium for Beginners. We go to Eclipse and start by creating a class. To create a class, we select File, New, then Class. We will name the class Print Statements. Then click the Finish button. Let's rename the class by adding an underscore. First, you must select the item, then go to File and navigate to Rename. Do you see F2? That's the shortcut key for renaming an item if you do not want to navigate through the menu. Here is the rename dialog. The second way is to use the shortcut key F2 to bring up the rename dialog. The third way is to right-click the item, select Refactor, then Rename. I am going to add an underscore in between print and statements. Then click the Finish button. Minimize the Package Explorer. Write a TestNG annotation called @test, and create a Java method called print hello world, starting with public void print hello world. Next, we will add a print statement using the shortcut SYSOUT, sysout, control space, add 2 double quotes. Now we add hello world. See the red X? That's because we have not imported the add test annotation. So we hover over add test, then select import test, which is org.testng.annotations. I will create another TestNG annotation of add test and a Java method called print welcome message. Print welcome message. Print statement, SYSOUT, control space. The message will say, welcome to Selenium for beginners. We run by going to the run menu, then run again. The console shows both print statements, hello world and welcome to Selenium for beginners. Both passed. The results tab also shows both print statements passed. Questions, answers, and practice. Questions. What is required for developing and running programs in Java? Number 2, is Selenium WebDriver an automation tool? Number 3, what is the driver name for Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, and Firefox? Answers. Number 1, what is required for developing and running programs in Java? Java Development Kit, JDK. Number 2, is Selenium WebDriver an automation tool? No, it is not an automation tool. Number 3, what is the driver name for Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, and Firefox? Internet Explorer is IE Driver Server. Google Chrome is Chrome Driver. Firefox is Gecko Driver. Practice. Install Java Development Kit, JDK. Install Eclipse IDE. Configure Selenium. Install browser drivers. And install TestNG.
Online courses coming soon. Books available in paperback, ebook, and PDF. All Part 1 ebooks and PDF documents are free. Programming books for UFT. Programming books for Java. Here's the Selenium automation book. And TestNG. Subscribe to get notification of future videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.